Good to see everybody. Happy Monday. First of all, I would be remiss if I didn't also wish Tay a happy belated birthday. So hope you had a great day yesterday, Tay.
Thank you.
And secondly, just want to applaud this opportunity that you all created. How many weeks ago? Is it? I mean, certainly as a result of COVID, Tay, but the whole Zoom room idea was genius, and really applaud everybody for committing to it, whether you can make it every week or half the time or whatever part of the time, the opportunity to stay connected in a pretty disconnected environment we've been operating in. So just a great idea. I applaud everybody for their commitment to it, and Tay, way to initiate it and run with it.
Oh, well, thanks. I will say though, this has been Russ's baby. He's taking lead on this. So it's been 8 weeks. It's been really, really great.
Nice. Well, good job, Russ. I appreciate it. I'm a believer that November 15th of every single year is the last calendar day of the year to earn whatever revenue and income that we're going to earn, how many units that we're actually going to close in a given year. And Wednesday, so tomorrow is the last day of Q2, but we have 139 days left in the year, which is still plenty of time despite the headwinds we've experienced with COVID in Q2 to achieve our goals. So that's 139 days before November 15th. And I think I've shared this in the past, but for those that maybe haven't, the logic behind that is operating on a 45-day close. And certainly, I know that there's closings that happen in 30 days and less, and certainly less than 45. But as a general rule of thumb, operating off of 45 days, whatever number of transactions that we put in pending and closed status by November 15th is likely what we're going to earn that particular calendar year. And everything after that will most likely be earned the following calendar year. So as we close out Q2, which, candidly is probably the most unprecedented quarter in most of our careers, coming off of the historic run that we've enjoyed really since the middle of 2012, as we came out of the Great Recession, in one year after another of increase in average sale price, and increase in closings, and a good economy, low unemployment, historic low interest rates. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, with no preparation, hit COVID. And candidly, we've actually come out of that almost as fast as we went into it. So it will be interesting to see if we can avoid a later Q3, Q4 second wave of it, but certainly posed significant headwinds in Q2. So Melanie and I thought would be, given the timing that the second quarter is coming to an end this week, we're starting Q3, now would be the perfect time to talk about quarterly appraisals, quarterly reviews, and coaching. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mel, and the floor is yours.
I want to start talking about the quarterly reviews that we offer. And, I know that some of you may have taken advantage of them in the past, but, I don't know that we have, made widespread offerings. And Tay and I kind of talked about this last week, and it's just a really great time to, every quarter to look at your business at kind of 30,000 feet. And if, we even talk about the company side, I mean, we also do this every quarter. In fact, not only do we do it to our leadership, but we actually have to do an analysis of the business every quarter and present it to a presentation that actually goes to the board, to Berkshire Energy, to evaluate what did we say we were going to do this year in this, in the quarter that we just went through, and then what are we going to accomplish the rest of the year. And for me, it's always a really good reset, because, it is kind of an eye opener. You've committed to certain things, and when you haven't achieved some of those goals, you have to revisit your priorities and your daily activities to make sure that you achieve those. And it's no different in your business, each running your own business. to, go through that process, and, not being in a room, being able to see all of your eyes. But I know a good portion of you, prior to the beginning of this year, went in and did business planning. If you did business planning, you're even better positioned to go through this process. But if you didn't do business planning, then this is a good time to start, at the beginning of the quarter, and really look at how did last quarter go and what do you want to accomplish for the rest of the year. And this is really an evaluation of your own business at 30,000 feet. And it's not us, it's not Tay holding you accountable to anything. It's really just what do you want to accomplish and how can we help you get there? And I think in a prior Zoom that you all did, you talked about wigs. I think that was maybe the one that David Stribling was involved in. And so for those of you that attended that one, on wigs, and you're setting your wildly important goals, which is a very defined singular objective, or set of a couple of objectives that you intend, that you want to accomplish and want to be really laser focused on as you kind of navigate the whirlwind of everyday life. This quarterly review is really an analysis more at a higher level at 30,000 feet of, how is it going? How is your progress toward achieving those wigs, whatever your wig is and whatever your objectives are at the end of the year. So Jason, if you want to pull up that quarterly review. I'm just going to go through this for a couple of minutes because I know a lot of you haven't done it, actually went through this process. And this is actually something that Tay is going to, we're going to work with the admin team. And so like Jason said, the quarter ends, we're right here at the end of the quarter ends this week. So by the middle of, next week, we'll have all of our final numbers for the end of the quarter, transactions that you put in at the end of the month, that we get in at the beginning of July. We'll start to close that out. And then we will work with Tay and the team, Laura, Jody, Kaya, Russ, and Nalani to get the actual year-to-dates, and they're completed for you. So we'll actually send it out to you with the actual year-to-dates on there so that you actually have the what you have accomplished this year. Sometimes it's funny, I'm talking to a very successful agent of ours, and I'm like, okay, so how many have you done this year? And really they're so involved in their day-to-day business, they actually weren't even sure how many they had done, but certainly had done more than the prior year. But it was it can be it's really it's for those of you that are kind of laser focused on the transactions you have in the pipeline. I mean, it's a great time to stop and look at what have you been doing right and what opportunities do you have to make sure that you meet or exceed your goals for the rest of this year. So you'll receive this, and the year-to-dates will be in there for you. And then what the annual goals, if you already did planning, whether you did business planning with us or whether you did your own business planning on your own, or whether you just have these numbers in your mind, and I encourage you to actually write these numbers down. If you didn't do business planning this year, when we get to later in 2020, I encourage you to take part in the business planning for 2021, because as Tay will tell you, the percentages around writing down your goals as opposed to just having those in your mind, and your success percentages around that are much higher if you actually have them written down. But if you haven't, this is a good time to start. So it's never too late to start. What is your annual goal for closed units, closed volume, listings taken, sales written? And then what is your quarterly goal? So what's your goal for next quarter, for Q3? What do you want to achieve? Because then you really just need to back out what activities you need to do to get to those. So then the rest of this, you're just going to fill out, and you're going to send it back to your sales leader. So you're going to fill out what have your top 3 sources of business been this year? That could be your sphere. It could be social media. It could be, you know, maybe you're doing home partners. Maybe you do, you reach out to FSBOs. Maybe you're doing direct mailings. If you only have one of those areas, then maybe that's an area that you want to talk about when you're having your meeting. What is another area I can add to business generating activities that I'm comfortable with? And, you know, just know when you're having these conversations with your sales leader or your coach, which we'll talk about a little bit more further along in this conversation, is we're not going to say, oh, we want you to start, you know, one of your silos and one of the areas that you should be, you know, you need to add you know, X, you know, social media, or you should be doing home partners or, you know, door knocking. It's what you're comfortable with and what you know, feel comfortable doing and what you want to commit to. So this is all really just so that we can have a conversation about it. What's been your most successful business generating activity? And then this is one that always kind of gets me thinking, because we do the same thing on the brokerage side with the company. What must you keep, start, and stop doing in order to be successful in the next quarter? And that's always kind of self-reflective for me, because then you realize there's always something, you know, that I need to be doing more of. And there's always some kind of whirlwind that I've probably been sucked into too much that I need to stop doing in order to meet my goals for next year, my objectives for the year. So I think that that's something that, you know, every few months we all should kind of sit and write this down, because it just gives you an opportunity to think about your days and how, you know, what you want to commit to. And then what are your goals for the next quarter? And, you know, those goals are going to vary from person to person. And what barriers will prevent you from success in the quarter ahead. And then from what skills you need to improve on. That really helps us to understand, is there a skill set that we can work with you on specifically, or is there a training need within the organization? You know, if there's a consistent pattern we're hearing, that's really where we get a lot of the information that we need from you all on what our priorities are for the next quarter around training opportunities, workshops, this kind of thing, the Zoom room. You know, that's the feedback we need to help you guys achieve those goals. And then, you know, really, what can we do to help you achieve your goals? So, you know, I really encourage every one of you to go through this process. It's not a long process. I mean, it's not going to take you that long to fill out. It's your business. So, you know your business. So it's not going to take you a long time to complete it. I think it's really meaningful. And the conversation, you know, with your sales leader or who, you know, whether it's going to be Tay, whether it's one of the assistant sales leaders, or, you know, some a coaching resource, is, you know, going to be probably in this instance planning a quarter. I mean, a coaching conversation can be 15-20 minutes or 15-minute conversation, but this might be, you know, 20, probably 30-minute conversation tops about your business and what you plan to accomplish and how we can help you get there. And, you know, really what Jason's going to talk about is what we believe is the most reliable way for you to meet your goals faster. In my opinion, it's coaching. And I think that that's something that we really want to promote, that offering within the company as we move through the remainder of the year. And I think we've all proven in the environment we're in today that, you know, we used to think we had to have these coaching conversations in person, and that the broker had to come into your desk and sit there, and you had to carve out that 15 or 30 minutes. And then it was too easy for, you know, an inspection pops up, or you have a client need that pops up. And so, you know, you get caught in the whirlwind, which is understandable in the environment we're in, where we're spread out geographically from where we're doing business. Traffic isn't favorable, you know, all those kind of things. So, you know, when you're looking at the opportunity of coaching, you know, be flexible and be, we're willing to do that with you in any way, shape, or form, and do a Zoom, do a FaceTime, as long as it's kind of a structured opportunity, which Jason will talk about. I think, regardless of where you are in your career, whether you're brand new, whether you've done 0 transactions, whether you've done 1 or 2 transactions, or whether you do 30 or 40 a year and you're an experienced producer, business coaching is necessary. For me, I had, for many, many years, a business coach when I was in a, senior sort of leadership role in business, and that person was not from my business. That individual was just a leadership and business coach that was not associated with my business, but they helped me elevate my skills and really helped me figure out what I needed to work on and polish and stay focused, because we all are so busy, in our whirlwind in our daily lives. And for you all, the transactional piece and the relational part of the job and your interfaces with your clients, that it's really helpful to have someone that helps you kind of focus on what you need to prioritize. And it's, if we could really just leverage what athletes already do in a sports world, and you look at the most elite athletes in the world, and they all have one thing in common. And what they all have in common is they all rely heavily on someone to coach and develop them, regardless of how elite they are. Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, if you look at any athlete that has accomplished a lot, you can usually find someone that's tied pretty closely to them and helping them really focus and accomplish something that that they couldn't have done alone. And it's not that coach is more technically astute. I mean, the coach is not better technically than Tom Brady. He's not a better football player, but really just helping them. And I think I'd seen a quote in a book. It said, unlocking a person's potential to maximize their own performance is helping them learn rather than teaching them. So, I think that, how can we help you, to achieve your goals faster? And I think that I feel strongly about it. I've benefited from it. We really want to make sure that we are, your partner in this, and your partner in helping you achieve your goals faster, helping, just giving you some outside perspective. And so I want to just pass it on to Jason, because he really, and I'll just say for him, if Jason actually was just allowed to coach all day and not deal with any of the other things in the business, that's what he would choose to do. He really is passionate about this, and we almost have to hold him back in the organization from just coaching full time, because that's really would be his personal preference. So I think, and he's coached a lot of really successful, great, long-time brokers in our company to great results. But ultimately for him, he just is excited. And I think, Tay, I see every day in Tay's, the excitement and just your success. And that's really where we get that's really why we all chose to be on this side of things, because your success is what excites us. So I think that's what he wants to talk about today.
Thanks, Mel. Well, 2 things before I dive into coaching, and Mel hit the nail on the head. If I could invest all my time in one area, it would be coaching. I get great satisfaction and pleasure out of seeing other folks achieve their goals. And so I'm excited to talk about that today. But before we move on, one last thought about and maybe it's a challenge I'll issue around quarterly reviews. Do right by yourself and your business and carve out 30 minutes this week. Put it on your calendar and just spend some quiet time reflecting back on Q2 and the first half of the year. What went well? What would you change? What would you keep doing? recommit, refocus to Q3. And you will thank me for that later. It's the best investment of 30 minutes this week. And so I really encourage you to do that. And it will be the best investment of your time. So, with respect to coaching, now I'm going to actually, is the screen still showing the quarterly performance appraisal? Okay, so I'm going to get out of that and I'm going to bring up something else. Can you see a document titled 4 Stages of Coaching? Okay. So we'll table that for a minute, but I wanted to bring it up before I forgot to. So really what I want to talk about and share, and I do want to, if anybody's got any questions, comments, please raise your hand or come off a mute and ask. While I really enjoy listening to Mel and anybody else speak, I really don't enjoy hearing myself speak for too long. So if you've got any questions or comments or ideas or recommendations how we could deploy this better, please speak up. And I will say, with respect to coaching, you got great resources in Tay, Nalani, and Russ, all three certainly willing to partner with you and help you achieve your goals, and talented folks at that. So leverage them, take advantage of them. But, really what I wanted to talk about at a 30,000 foot level is my perspective of coaching, and then a real distinction between teaching, mentorship, and coaching. So when you break down coaching, what does it really mean? What's the purpose of a coach? And it's pretty simple. It's helping one achieve their goals faster than they would in your absence. So in other words, accelerate one's results. That's really a coach's sole purpose, is helping one achieve their goals faster than they would in their absence. But there is a real difference between teaching or going to a training class, mentorship, and coaching. So teaching is really, you've got to be the subject matter expert on that topic, whatever that topic is. So if you're the participant and you attend a training class or it's a training session, you're there because you want to absorb what that expert has to say on that given topic. Mentorship is really about one sharing, their experiences to help you avoid setbacks or invest your time or financial resources wisely. So really about learning from someone that's been, whether it's a business or entertainment or athletics, really learning from somebody that's been in that space longer than you, so you can learn from them, avoid any setbacks, and really invest your time wisely. But when it comes to coaching, you're the expert in your life. You're the expert in what it is your aspirations are and what you want to achieve. The coach, in my humble opinion, and a good coach, it's about listening and learning about what makes that individual tick, and ultimately help them identify the activities that they're willing to perform to achieve their goals. And I use those words really intentionally. It's not about telling somebody what to do. Again, you're the expert on your life. You're the expert in what you believe your strengths and weaknesses or gaps and opportunities are. It's not a coach's role or position necessarily to tell you that you should do this, that, or the other thing. It's really to come alongside you, partner with you, help you identify specific activities that you are willing to perform to achieve the goals that you're committed to. And then anytime that you get off course, that coach is there to help you get back on course. And right now I'm in the throes of taking flying lessons. So I'm going to use this analogy, and I wish I could take credit for it, but Brian Buffini used it before me, so I'm going to steal it, but give him credit for it. He uses an analogy of coaching to be an air traffic controller. And I can attest to this because I'm, as I said, in the throes of getting my private pilot's license right now. And the air traffic controller is really there to get you from point A to point Z. As the pilot, you already know how to fly the plane. You're not relying on the air traffic controller to tell you how to fly the thing. You've already charted out your course. You've got a beginning point. You've got a destination. Maybe you have multiple stops along the way. And so you do all your pre-flight planning yourself. But the air traffic controller there is really to keep you on your flight path. So you actually get to your destination point as quick as possible with the least amount of disruption. And that's a business coach's responsibility. We're not here to tell you what to do, how to do it. Maybe there's times to do that if the opportunity presents itself. But really a business coach's job is to listen, learn, help you identify and commit to activities that you yourself are willing to perform to ultimately achieve the goals that you're committed to performing. And that's the job. And again, I'll say you've got great resources in Russ, in Melanie, in Tay to partner with you to help you refocus or recommit, or for the first time, start coaching. And again, you're the expert on your life. That's not our role or responsibility. We're just there to partner with you, to help you commit to activities that you yourself say you're willing to perform. And then anytime you get off flight path is to get you back on that path to a safe landing and ultimately achieve your goals. So that, again, I think it kind of gets mentorship, coaching, teaching kind of get intertwined. And I believe that there's really three distinctive disciplines and roles there. So what you see on your screen, again, in my experience, and like Melanie, I've had the good fortune of having some great coaches and mentors along the way, and still do today. But at least with respect to our business, the real estate business, there's really what I've deemed to be 4 stages of coaching. And as you move through your career, your coaching needs change and they evolve. It's not always the same conversation. And as your business grows and it develops, you move and navigate through those stages, and your coach has to move through those stages with you too. So Act 1, what I've titled Daily Revenue Foundation. This is really for someone brand new into the business. And quite frankly, I've coached people where we stay in this stage for 2, 3, 4 years, because it's really about creating the habits and the disciplines. And it's that self-discovery of what are going to be the things that now I'm in this business, or maybe I've been in it a while and I really need to really refocus and narrow and scope the activities that I need to consistently perform to achieve the results that I want. And so you may stay in this stage for years at the beginning of your career. And to me, the 2 most important questions is, how much money do I want to earn? So what's the income level that I want to earn? And then 2, what are the specific activities that I'm willing to do to achieve those desired earnings? And from that, you have your action plan. And as we've alluded to on the quarterly appraisal, everybody should have at a minimum 3 activities. Your sphere, that's a no-brainer, so everybody's got at least 1. But what are the other 2 at a minimum activities, whether it's for sale by owners, open houses, expireds, mailings, farming, whatever it may be? You should at a minimum have 3 different activities that you perform throughout the year. And I would submit that you don't add another activity until you've perfected the 3 that you are actually performing on a consistent and habitual basis. But this first stage, or what I've called act, if you will, is really about creating the right habits, the right routine. And most of you know me well enough. It's all about routine and relationships. Those are the 2 key R's to success in real estate. It's having a great routine that's consistent, and it's about developing relationships. So act one, what are those activities that I'm just going to consistently perform and trust the process? As you move and navigate your business, and now you're at a production level where you got to start really evaluating, can I continue this sort of production level on my own? So this is really for that next chapter. Maybe I've got so much business now, I've got to really look at the infrastructure around me to really continue to perform at the level that I currently am, but also exceed those levels. So identifying what the business needs are and identifying what limitations to continue to grow that business. Is it time for an assistant? Are you under leveraging the tools and resources that the company has to offer? Because ultimately, the best place for you is prospecting. That's the highest and best use of your time. And then obviously managing your contracts. But once you've entered this stage of production, it's really around, how do I keep myself in the place where I'm the highest and best use, and it's performing $300, $400, $500 an hour activity, and not the whirlwind of $10, $12, $15, $20 an hour activity stuff. So that's where your coach can really help evaluate your business to help keep you in that space where you stay in the highest and best use for the business, continue to grow it, generate new business, more business, making sure you have that repeat and referral business. But you're also going to have all the admin stuff, because now you're doing more deals, making more money, and that just needs to continue to be managed. And so that's stage two. Now, once you've got your infrastructure in place, you've got the right routine and habits and activities down, it's really stage three. Now, I will say stage three could also be and should be done during stage one and stage two, but this is really about creating an asset. And I come from outside the real estate business, and one thing that I've seen too often in our business that is done in other industries is, we have a real asset, and we've got the opportunity to create and develop an asset that has economic value when we decide we either want to fully step away, or we just want to step back and transition, and maybe that work-life balance becomes more important, or really you just want to get out of the business. But you have to start early on in creating this asset. And that's your database, it's your sphere of influence, it's your processes, it's your procedures, systems, and creating that in a very formal, organized structure. So when the day comes that you look in the mirror and say, God, this has been a great run, maybe it's 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever it may be into it, you actually have an asset that has value to somebody else that they're willing to pay for. And it's got value because you've taken the necessary steps to mature that, nurture it, and package it up in a very systematic format. And we've got a training that I developed about how do you transfer an asset of value that we can talk about offline and later if anybody's interested in. But this really, even though I've got it in stage three, should be from day one of your career. And if you haven't really looked at it from that mindset yet and you're years into it, like Mel said, it's never too late to start. But we've all got a great opportunity here to create an asset that has value to somebody when we're ready to walk away, that will provide a financial reward for us when we decide to walk away. And that morphs right into succession planning and personal wealth. And that's developing a plan how to walk away from the business. And let me stop right here and say, I'm not advocating for anybody to walk away from the business right now, but if anybody's in those later stages and want to connect with me, and this is an area of the business that I'm really passionate about, because it's respectfully, it's very sad to me to see somebody really do an excellent job, bust their behinds for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And the day they decide to stop being active in real estate is the day that their income stops from sales. Now, maybe they've got great rental history and whatnot, but to no longer have a revenue stream from the sales that you've built over decades is really unfortunate and can be avoided. And that's one thing that I really am passionate about is we all build this great business, and along the way we've mined it and we've created this great asset, and the company and your coach can partner with you to identify who would be a good successor to assume this business, because it is your reputation. I mean, the asset is really your reputation, your contacts, your service standards that you're looking to transfer. So you don't want to just do that recklessly and blindly. And that's where a good coach can partner with you to help you identify who's a great candidate to carry your work and your efforts forward. So those are the 4 stages of coaching. Again, you yourself and your coach have to really be mindful and have that mindset that, it's not just the same day in and day out, that as you evolve, the coaching relationship and the area of emphasis evolves along with it. So let me pause there. Anybody got any comments, questions? Hopefully you can see that I've got a small degree of passion and enthusiasm around personal growth and personal development. And I will say, probably maybe even a detriment of mine, I value more than anything performance and results, and probably got to do a better job of celebrating successes at times. But as Mel alluded to, this is why we all get in this position. It's really to help others develop and achieve their goals. So let me take a breath there. And anybody have any questions for me, or Tay, any thoughts?
I'll give everybody a second here. I don't have anything on the group chat, but I think just to echo what you were saying, I mean, at the end of the day, we've got a great support system in the offices with Melanie and Russ and myself, and between the 3 of us, we have plenty of opportunity and bandwidth to continue to help those that we have been coaching, but also to bring on more opportunities for people that want that connection and want to dial in to even if it's quarterly or more. I mean, we have people that we were coaching weekly or bi-monthly, but there's all kinds of opportunities to kind of build that around what each agent needs, because as you said, this is really more about advocating and supporting, the agent and what you're doing, what they want to achieve, more than what, I want to put it's not that I want to put a box around somebody. So, but lots of opportunity.
So Jason, I'm sure you'll get into this, but when you elaborate more on what you imagine for, or what you envision for a coaching appointment to look like, can you also, talk about the structure of that, but also like the timing of that, and is that casual? Do I just walk in your office, or kind of all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm a believer of it's not casual. It's very structured. There's rules of engagement, if you will, and I think ultimately it's about being respectful of everyone else's time. And so in a coaching call or a face-to-face meeting, I've created kind of a 1-page document for the folks that I'm coaching, and they submit that to me prior to our coaching meeting. And if they don't, then we actually don't have the meeting. And if it becomes habitual, then we actually stop the coaching relationship. And it's not adversarial or anything like that. It's just, obviously it's not a priority, but it is structured in. And if it's done in the right way, really that meeting should probably be no longer than 20 minutes. Because in the document that I've created, that those that I'm coaching send me, they're basically telling me what they want to talk about. And so I can stay really focused and on point on what their issues and goals are for that particular meeting. One of the ground rules is We don't talk about transactions. We don't talk about co-op brokers. We don't talk about anything other than working on the business. We don't touch in the business type of topics, which would be transaction based. So it's singularly focused on working on the business. And for those 20, 25 minutes, and sometimes they're 10 minutes, it just kind of depends on what the topic is. Most of mine are every other week, sometimes early on. They're weekly. I will say probably with my, one experience with an agent in the Central, and now she's been with us, over 10 years, but her first 5 years in the business, she was with a boutique operation and a woman that enjoyed a great stellar reputation. But after recruiting this individual for 11 months, the final, nail in the coffin, if you will, was our annual business planning. And she just ultimately came to the conclusion, while she's got great respect for the prior owner, she just didn't have the resources and the tools as we did. And in her first 5 years, the best closing year she had was 17 units. Her first year with us was 40, and then 50, and then 60. And she's historically now in the 80, 90, 100, 110 closings per year. But it's really been fascinating. We've literally gone through 3 stages of coaching together in her 10 years with us. But in those coaching calls, we never talk about a transaction. We never talk about a client. We never talk about a co-op broker. It's really around activities. It's priorities. It's time management. It's those sort of things. And as it's moved on, it's assistance in those sort of issues that are more infrastructure related to support that business. But if you stay pointed on the issues of working on the business rather than in the business, those will be they'll be the most productive coaching sessions.
Nice. We've got a message from Cassandra here, and it says, how would you choose your accountability partner?
Well, ultimately, there's got to be a foundation of trust there. I mean, and if you, secondly, it's got to be somebody that is willing to be honest and candid, celebrate the wins, but also deal with the gaps. And if that relationship doesn't exist where you can't be honest with each other and push each other and challenge each other and support each other, that's not a good accountability partner. So let me go back to a high school basketball experience. Aaron Jackson was a senior. I was a sophomore, and he was the starting point guard in the varsity, and we always went head to head. But early on in the year, he's like, hey, Jason, let's dial it down against each other so we can kind of, not really push each other too hard. That's not my personality. We didn't really then get along after that. But the point of that story is you don't want an accountability partner that's going to just give you a hall pass every time. There's certainly going to be life events and circumstances that maybe get you derailed or distracted for a short period of time, but a good accountability partner has your best interests in mind. They're going to, while they'll celebrate the successes, they're going to push you and challenge you and encourage you along the way, but they're going to be really honest when you're not living up to the things that you committed to doing, and they're not going to let you fail. And we've got a saying sometimes, we're the last ones to give up on someone. And I think that we've got to find that accountability partner that above everything else, you guys don't have to do business the same way. The great thing about this business, it's been proven over years and years and years. There's a lot of different ways to peel the onion here, but you have to have that person that cares so much about you and your success that they will hold you accountable to the things that you're willing to perform and commit to. So that is my advice there. And Tay, Melanie, feel free to weigh in on that.
For me, I'd say one thing is, I think if I'm asking someone, if they're interested in coaching, I mean, if I ask them how honest that they want me to be with them. And if they're probably a 7 or less, they're probably not a candidate for coaching. If you're 8, 9, or 10, then you're probably a candidate for coaching, because to me, yeah, I mean, I think just having the ability to have an open conversation. It's not judgment. It's just an open conversation around. And again, it's only about what that person is willing to commit to. So I'm not committing you to anything that you're not comfortable with. And I say, when you're looking for a coach, be really careful. You're not looking for someone to technically show you how to complete documents, or, the person doesn't have to be, actually in this business, they don't have to be more technically astute than you are. That's not really what a business coach is. So it's a really a different skill set. And I think that, you have, several of those people in leadership, within your offices who actually you have the benefit that they have both, that they have they're technically astute and are also good, very, I think, objective business coaches. But, when you're choosing someone like that, you're not really looking for someone to work with the technical aspects of your business. That's a really different training and mentoring relationship. So, looking for someone that you feel comfortable being honest with, and that you, feel comfortable with their opinion, and you guys can have a really open conversation.
Yeah. Jason, would you say that there's, because we're kind of talking about two different things now a little bit, right? Because we're talking about coaching, and within coaching, there is accountability, but then we're also talking about accountability partners, which may be somebody that's not even in the business, like Melanie said, or, that might be a different person. That might be something different. And I know that agents sometimes go, well, gosh, I don't know if I want coaching, because I really don't know that I want to be accountable to, the managing broker or something. That can be a little uncomfortable, right? And so maybe, can you speak to maybe what the difference of that would be? Because it may be a little bit different, subtle difference between the two.
Well, accountability partners, in more times than not, it's somebody in a like position, right? Let's take our business. It's two salespeople. So it's the same, you're in the same space, in the same business, or maybe not. Maybe it's in, a friend of yours is in the insurance business or the automobile sales business, whatever it may be. But it's the same activities. It's the same kind of routine and discipline. And so you're committing to the activities to achieve your goals and holding each other accountable. That coaching relationship is probably two people not in the same space, in terms of, while yes, you still have an active sales business, your number one priority, because I make it your number one priority, Tay, is to leading and developing the office and the people. And so, it's just a different, you're in a different space than maybe that participates in your coaching. So I think if we're talking about accountability partners, it probably is people in the exact same space, but it's still the same fundamentals of that relationship. You have to have somebody that cares so deeply about you and your best interest and success that they're not going to just always give you a pass. They're going to push you, celebrate your successes, but also challenge you and support you when you're not. And so that's what I see the difference.
Agreed. I don't have any other questions here in the group chat.
Okay. Well, we got 10 to noon. I don't really have anything, but I will share. I've got a 12 o'clock WIG call every Monday with my peers across the country. So, this is really a great topic, and then segue that I've got to really live, what I'm passionate about and sharing here today. But I will go back to the challenge around quarterly appraisals. The best investment of your time this week, block out, add it to your calendar. It doesn't matter what day, Wednesday morning, Thursday afternoon, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is, 30 minutes, and spend a little bit of time reflecting on the first half of the year, Q2, focus, recommit on what you want to achieve in Q3. And regardless of COVID, any other issues, and we've got a lot, obviously, that we're all aware of, just that we're all dealing with societal wise. despite all those, all the things that are going on, the real estate business has really been the foundation of this recovery. And there is great opportunity in Q3 and Q4 to achieve our individual and collective goals. But the best time will be some reflection on what's working, what's not working, and refocus on Q3. And that starts on Wednesday. So Tay, thanks for the time. I love talking about coaching and self-growth and self-development. I appreciate you, Russ, Neilani, and everybody else that commits to their business and themselves. We're here to partner with you and help you achieve your goals faster than you would in our absence. So thanks for the time today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jason and Melanie, both for coming on. I really appreciate it. Again, huge thanks to Russ for taking the lead on Zoom Room. This has been really, really a successful addition, and we've had an awesome season of this, and we will be bringing it back again soon. Let's get through the summer, and then we'll come back to you and bring you some fresh content. So again, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
And if you're thinking about coaching, if you're thinking about any of that, reach out to any of us.
Yeah, please. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.